Today is Black Friday. While many believe that this name was coined by the business world, for on this day they get out of the red and into the black financially, this simply is not the case. This name had its origin in the 1960s in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it was so named by the Philadelphia police, for it was the most crime-filled day of the year. And we likely all can attest to the unchristlike behaviors that often occur when we're not able to obtain the stuff that we thought that we so needed. In 2017, CNN began referring to Black Friday as Black Eye Friday because of the number of assaults that occur on this day over items that are placed on sale by our nation's retailers. But is it not ironic that some of the same people who will set aside Thursday as a day of thanksgiving for their blessings are all too quick to forget their blessings when presented with the chance of getting more stuff? All of this stems from the sin of greed. Jesus never said that we could not have possessions, but he did say that wealth and possessions would make it tougher to stay faithful. Every Christian has probably read that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God, Luke 18, verse 25. Yet many of us find it easy to pursue more and more wealth instead of striving to live on less. One key passage that we find dealing with this subject is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 6 through 10. And it presents to us the concept that desiring to be wealthy yields a number of results. One result of desiring riches is stated in 1 Timothy 6 and verse 6, which states, "But godliness with contentment is great gain." There is a certain satisfaction which ought to characterize the child of God. Godliness, which is righteous living, along with a contented spirit, is a wonderful combination of virtues. The happy and grateful Christian who is seeking to live for the Lord will be a satisfied person. But by contrast, the person who has an excessive appetite for wealth and earthly possessions will be covetous and greedy and filled with anxiety. Contentment does not come from having all of our wants supplied, but it comes from reducing our desires to include only the essentials of life. Another result of desiring wealth is found in 1 Timothy 6 and verse 7. "For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out of it." Every person comes into the world without a penny in his pocket, in fact, without even a pocket to put a penny in. And all of us will leave this world without taking any material goods with us. The only things that we can take with us into the life that is to come are those things which we do for Jesus while we're here. The story is told of a miserly, dissatisfied, aging man who was lingering right on the border of death. And he had befriended another older gentleman who was a good Christian. This sickly man had hoped that he could stay here in this life forever. But he said about the cheerful, older Christian neighbor, "He is going on to his treasure, but I must soon leave mine behind." Friends, we cannot take our earthly goods with us, and only those children who know the Lord will enter into that heavenly city. The Apostle Paul, also speaking to Timothy in 1 Timothy 6 and verse 8, says, "And having food and raiment, let us therewith be content." What Paul is saying is that as long as we have those things that are necessary in order to survive, let us be content with what we have. But this virtue of contentment, it's not natural to the human heart. It's one that must be learned. Paul wrote in Philippians 4 verses 10 through 12 that he had learned to be content. Paul was reared in a life of luxury. As a child he had plenty, but later as a servant of Jesus Christ, there were times that he was in need. And he did not always have enough, but he learned to be content. We must realize that as children of God, that God will bless us with the things that we need. And so long as we keep our sights upon Him and are grateful and content with the things that we have, then we will live a much happier life. For one of Satan's most deceptive philosophies is the teaching that riches will bring everything that our heart desires. Thank you for listening today. Have a blessed day.